Hello everyone. Today I'll be talking about a little bit about this book, Santa Biblia, and I'll be sharing my experience as a Latino learner in the United States. Let me share my experience. Reading the Bible in Puerto Rico is not the same as reading the Bible in Tennessee. I moved from Puerto Rico to Tennessee to study my degree, my master's degree. In Puerto Rico, the Bible was a source for spiritual growth and for doctrine. In Tennessee, the Bible was a source of hope and also a source for making sense of my identity as a Latino and as a Christian. My migration experience provided me new lenses to read Scripture. Now I was dealing with issues of identity, migration, racism, cultural shock, adaptation, among other things. Some biblical passage became alive for me, such as Old Testament laws for the foreign, the stories of Abraham, Daniel, Joseph, Esther, and Ruth became not only Bible stories, but my story too. I found comfort on those stories, to see God working on those people in foreign lands, in strange lands. It was a great source of hope for me. God was prospering them, protecting them, and blessing them in a strange land. This provided me a source of hope. If God did those things for them, God can do those things for me now in this land. This is what Justo Gonzalez is doing in his book, Santa Biblia. Gonzalez presents five hermeneutical paradigms employed by Latinas when reading the Bible and trying to understand their own situation. Let me say that Gonzalez kind of put some of those experiences together that we as Latinos and Latinas experience here in the United States, and theologize using those experiences. The first experience of the first paradigm is marginality. To be in the margin means to be excluded from the center. And many Latinos and Latinas can identify with that. Number two, poverty. The Latino experience in the United States is one of poverty. Many Latinos came to the United States, not all, but many of them, because they were struggling financially back in their country. So this deal with poverty, and also many Latinos, according to Gonzalez, in the United States, are poor. So this is an experience that across the United States among the Latinos is very similar. Number three, mestizaje and mulatez. As many of us know, the Latino culture is not only one culture, it's a mix between cultures. What Gonzalez is trying to do here is that we are not only one, he's saying we are not only one culture, we are two or three or four or more cultures blended together. So that provides us a sensibility, when we talk about cultures and when we talk about the other, because it's something normal for us. Number 4, exiles and alien. Exiles imply that because we are not in our land anymore, now we are in a new land, and in this new land, we are in the periphery. And also aliens. We are strange people to this land. Number 5, solidarity. This paradigm, it helps us to understand that the Latino community around the United States, they see themselves in solidarity because the experience of the other Latino is probably the same experience as my experience. Solidarity means that we are in this together as a community. We are in this together as a familia, as a family. That you are not alone in this land. As one reads the book, one gains a better understanding of how and why we generally interpret the sacred scripture differently, and specifically the lenses that Latinos and Latinas utilize as they view biblical events and teaching. In general, the book is a good introduction on how Latinos and Latinas read the scriptures, and teachers need to be aware of these dynamics. Because one, the migration experience has shaped our view of the scripture, and two, our cultural identity also has shaped the view of scripture. When we are teaching in cross-cultural contexts, we must be aware of this reality. Even if we have a student in our classroom or in our church that is from other culture, we must be aware that those dynamics are real in the life of those students.